What's up everyone? My name is June. Welcome to my channel, and today we're gonna talk about my recent trip to California's Great America. Alright, so I just got back from California's Great America. We had 2 days there, so I got a pretty good sense of the park. Also, I was super excited when I planned this trip because this was the first park outside SoCal that I was visiting. And being a recent coaster enthusiast, I had a lot to look forward to. But some things didn't go well, but some were pretty good. So I wanted to share my pros and cons. Pro number one was the theming. CGA did a good job on their theming. The overall atmosphere, the ambiance, the cleanliness was all really excellent. And all Cedar Fair chains are pretty good at that compared to Six Flags, and CGA was no exception. Straight off the bat, once you enter the park, you'll see this grand, beautiful fountain to greet you. Also a double-decker carousel right in the middle of the park, and that really sets the mood for the rest of the day, and I really love that. The second pro is their collection of rides. Their two standout attractions are Gold Striker, which is a GCI wooden coaster, and Railblazer, which is a single rail RMC Raptor. And yeah, those two rides were pretty good. It had a lot of hype. They also have different coasters such as Patriot, Flight of Deck, Demon, and Grizzly. Of course, they could use maybe one more like standout attraction, but as of right now, what they have isn't too bad. Pro number 3 is actually the water park. And unlike other parks that have 2 different entrances or 2 different parks, CGA has both in one park. So with one entrance, you can go to both parks fairly easily. And it's a pretty unique experience to go from riding roller coasters and then get on a water slide like 5 minutes later. Although it seems pretty small and there's no like lazy river, there's no wave pool, but the overall collection of slides, it doesn't seem too bad, and it seems pretty clean, and there's a nice play area and a lot of kids seem to enjoy it. So next time I visit, it's a definite must for me. So the final pro is their location. California's Great America is located in Santa Clara and San Jose area. And although that area isn't like a big city or a big touristy location, it is really nice, it's really clean, there's plenty of things to do there. Santana Row is a really popular mall that they have there. They have good food there, and also it isn't too far from San Francisco. So if you take the train, it's about an hour. If you drive, it's a little less, 45 to 50 minutes. Overall, staying there was really nice. We flew into San Jose Airport, and it's only like 10 minutes away from the park, so that was really good. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit and talk about all the cons and the bads about the park. And the first con is their slow operation and bad dispatch time. And what I mean by this is the park's ability to get the train going and get the line moving, so the line and the wait becomes shorter. And California's Great America did not do a good job in this. So typically, when the operators check the restraints, check each train, wait for it to go, and then send the train going, that's about like 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. And if it's faster, that's great. If it's slower, it's okay. Like anything above a 2-minute mark will be considered slow. But California's Great America took about 5 to 6 minutes for each ride and each train to be circuited and to be sent out. And that made everything so unbearable. Like that made the line go so much slower. And I think there's 2 reasons why this happened. The first reason is the operators themselves. I feel like they just overall moved really slow. They went to each row very slowly, kind of pulled on the restraints very slowly. Like most other parks, it's like boom, boom, boom. It's fast and efficient. But California's Great America's operators, they weren't that fast. The second reason I think is the fact that the rides kept going down. For us, we got on Railblazers for our first ride, and that almost had like an hour or 50 minutes to an hour delay just because they had to wipe something down and they had to restart the system. And that really messed up our whole day because we lost that hour of time that, you know, the park was empty. And secondly, we went on Gold Striker, and also we waited about an hour, and then right before we got on the train, they had to shut down for the whole day. And Grizzly was down, Demon was down from time to time, and we kept checking the apps, and all the rides every 30 minutes seem to be down, and I don't think that's a good sign. The second con is their collection of rides, and yes, I did also mention that in my pros section, but I wanted to mention that none of the rides were like truly excellent or truly elite. Even Gold Striker, which had a lot of hype, was just too rough for me. It was fast, but after getting off the ride, my back and my neck was hurting and I did not want to get back onto it. Railblazer also had a really big hype for me because it's an RMC Raptor, but the over-the-shoulder restraint really hindered the ride. It really dug into my clavicle area and my shoulders. Also, Demon had a similar problem. Flight of Fear was actually not that bad. It was one of our favorite rides at the park, but for that, it was just really short. It's a really short ride, and I just wish it was longer. We also got on the Patriot, which is a floorless coaster, and that was also decent, but it just really like forced less. It was really slow, and it wasn't really intense, and we didn't think it was that great. Lastly, we didn't get on to Grizzly, but I also heard really bad things about Grizzly. Con number 3 was the food. We had 2 meals there. The first day we had a burrito. It was kind of like a make your own kind of thing. It was fresh, it was cooked really fresh, but the flavor wasn't there. Everything was really bland. We got chips, drinks, and a burrito. It came out to like 35 bucks, and it wasn't really good. Surprisingly, the second day was even worse. It was like the food event that they had. It was called Taste of New Orleans. They had like 7 or 8 different booths of different New Orleans style food, and we tried 4 out of like I think 10, and they were all not good. Like it was fun, it was well decorated, and it was cool, but the flavor again wasn't there, and I was really disappointed. But I did hear good things about their chicken, and maybe next time I'll try their fried chicken and maybe give you a better recommendation. The final con of this park is the line experience. To start, there's no shade. Cedar Fair doesn't like to provide you with shade when you're standing in line, and Great America is one of them. So if it's a hot day, you're gonna be standing in the sun for a long time. Secondly, I saw a lot of line cutting, and that happens a lot in other theme parks as well. But I don't know if it was just this week, but we saw a lot of high school kids, and those kids, many of them didn't like to follow rules. So they would have one person like kind of waiting in line, and the rest of the group will kind of catch up to them after they finish one ride to cut all the way to the front to skip all those people waiting in line. And I did not like that. Although I didn't say anything, in my mind, I was really like heated. On top of that, Cedar Fair's Fast Pass system is not really a good system in my opinion. What they do is they have a separate line for Fast Pass, and they get priority every time. And I get it, like they pay like 50, 70, sometimes even 100 to skip the line, so they should get that premium experience. However, the way that they're doing it right now is super inefficient. So for example, let's say there's 20 seats in a train, they will fill up maybe like 40 to 50, sometimes even 60% of that train with Fast Pass people. So that leaves the 40% of the remaining seats to the hundreds of people waiting like hours for the line. And that makes the line move a lot slower. And as I mentioned, like, yes, you should get priority, but up to a certain point. So I think Six Flags does a system where it's more like 30%. So the Fast Pass people, they have their separate line, and those people fill up 30% of the train, and then 70% is a normal line. So you still, that 30% is significant because if you pay for that, you still get to skip most of the line. You might be waiting like 15, 20 minutes, but compared to a couple hours, it's totally worth it. And I like how Six Flags does it because it moves both lines fairly fast. Alright, so that concludes my pros and cons list, and I know my cons outweigh the pros, and I don't want to make it seem like this park was just horrible. It was still good. I still had a good time, good experience. I definitely want to come back and maybe try some different things, and maybe my thoughts will change. And I also know that my rant is not gonna have any impact on how they do their operation, but these are some of my thoughts and I wanted to share with you guys. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was helpful. And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.